Shalom, shalom. Call hello Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Give honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutation to the brethren on the four corners of the earth, pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. Now, this is just going to be I'm going to try and keep it short. A short little discussion on the Israelite foreigners and Cornelius. With all the commotion about the prophecy of the Israelite foreigners coming to pass. The Israelites, popping up in other countries around the globe. Proclaiming that they're Israelites, and what we're seeing is a prophecy come to pass. But with this prophecy coming to pass, you always have guys that see it for face value, and want to use the Israelite foreigners as a crutch to bring in the doctrine that the other nations can be saved. So once again, we're back to square one. Now, you're gonna have guys saying that the Israelites can be saved, and I mean it's like you're gonna have other guys saying that other nations can be saved, and that Cornelius, the whole Cornelius argument is gonna come back around again. And I just wanted to give a few scriptures, go through some history of the Jewish diasporas and how you had Israelites, join other militaries and things like that. Just to compare and contrast, and to incite the, or to put the seed, the corn, in your mind that the Israelite foreigners are possible, and it is something that the Lord's bringing to pass, And through this whole lesson, I want you to keep in mind that the seed does come from the line of the Father. So, and through that, through that understanding, through the power of Yahweh Shem Shai, that's what makes this whole prophecy of the Israelite foreigners and the whole Gentile thing possible. So with that, without further ado, I'm going to attack the the first stronghold, which is the whole Cornelius issue. Is Acts chapter 10, verse 1. It says, there was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of a band called the Italian band. Now, just because it says Italian here, you're going to think, oh, this man was Italian, right? Of course, but that's if you take it for face value. Now if you pay attention, Caesarea, that's in Italy, but it tells you that he's a man of the Italian band, right? And I want to go into the word Cornelius as well. So let's attack this word Cornelius.
Strong's G 2883, Cornelius. Cornelius.
Horn, a Roman centurion of the Italian cohort stationed in Caesarea who converted to Christianity, right? Now, looking at this for face value, you think, oh, well, this is a Roman who converted to Christianity. But the thing is, there was no Christianity at this time. So there's something else he had to convert to. And two, the word convert means to return. Not many people understand that. A lot of people think the word convert means to just change or to turn over. No, it means to turn completely around. So let me get this word in the Etam Online dictionary. It says convert, from Old English convertir, from Vulgar Latin convertere, from Latin convertere, turn around, transform, from come with together, vertere, to turn. The Latin word is glossed in Old English, from serin, to turn, return, and also, here, turn around. So what's happening now is for you to be converted, you have to do a complete 360. It's like a complete 180 degrees. You have to go back to something that you once knew before. So when it says Cornelius was a new convert, meaning that he came from his wicked way of life and converted to a righteous way of life, the way of life that he was supposed to all along. That's why it says to return, meaning he returned back to what he was supposed to be doing in the first place. So let's go back to this Cornelius here. And Now, centurion, we know what centurion is as a soldier, right? Now, I wanted to, matter of fact, let's look at this word centurion because this is his office, right?
Strong's G 1543. Hekatantarches. Hekatantarches.
Which means an officer in the Roman army, right? And let's go to this word band here. So we know he was an officer in the Italian army, right?
Strong's G 4686. Spira. Spira.
So this is the word band, and it says military cohort, the 10th part of legion, about 600 men, if auxiliaries either 500 or 1,000, a maniple or a 30th part of a legion, any band, company, or detachment of soldiers. So when it says he was of the Italian band, meaning he was of a certain military cohort, that was stationed in Italy, stationed in Caesarea. So that's where he was stationed, just like you have guys in the American military now, and that are stationed in Vietnam. They're of a specific band of soldiers. It says any band, company, or detachment of soldiers. So whether you're stationed in Italy, you're stationed in Hawaii, stationed in Japan, you know, those military bases that America has all over the world. Because you have to remember, Rome had garrisons or military bases all over the known world at that time. So, and while they were taking slaves at that time, they were also forcing some of those slaves into the military to fight, you know, from wherever lands they were, and they would end up, like from Israel and Italy, or they would end up in Macedonia, or they'll end up in Syria, you know. So that's the understanding of this first verse of Acts chapter 10, verse 1, man. You know, doesn't mean he was a Roman. It just means that he was working for the Roman Empire and the Roman army. It says, a devout man, and one that feared the Most High with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to the Most High always. You know? So now it's telling you that, okay, so now he worshiped the Most High. Now, as we know, only Israelites can worship the Most High, right? It says he worshiped God. Now, and it's going to give you all type of bones, in this definition, but what says God the Father there? Christ, the second person, Holy Spirit, um, let's see. Whatever can in any respect be likened unto God or resemble him in any way, referred to the things of the Most High. So basically, we got the fact that he's worshiping Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, So he's a devout man and worship the Most High. Got you. Now, and from understanding of the scriptures, we know that only Israel can worship Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and you have to be of that lineage to worship Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So now that you got the fact that he was of the Italian band, so he was in the Roman army, which I want to convey to you that it's not really that far fetched. It's not really that far fetched. Now, before we do that, I was going to go to 2 Corinthians really quick, but let's go here to Tiberius Julius Alexander, because I want to show you that you had Jews who neglected the way of life of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and the law, statutes, commandments, and actually went to the Roman Empire, and aided and abetted in the taking down and the dispersion of their fellow brethren. So this is Tiberius Julius Alexander from the Wikipedia. Now, I could have read this from the Encyclopedia Britannica, but it's the same information, And whether you claim that one source is accredited or not, it's the same information. So, let's see. It says Tiberius Julius Alexander, 1st century, was an equestrian governor and general in the Roman Empire, right? Born into a wealthy Jewish family. So meaning they were Israelites, right? Of Alexandria. And where's Alexandria, man? Egypt. Here. So now you're starting to get an understanding of why Yahweh Shah, he ran into Egypt when he was, Mary and Joseph ran into Egypt when he was born. Because you had Israelites in Egypt. And this is the first century, so this is the same time Yahushua was born as well, you know? So it says he was born to a wealthy Jewish family in Egypt, Alexandria, Egypt. Now, for you scoffers out there, please tell me, why do you have Israelites in Egypt? You know? Is it because they look alike? Is it because some moved there? What is it? But anyway, it says, but abandoning or neglecting the Jewish religion. So he neglected Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? And obviously, he moved to Rome. It says he rose to become the procurator of Judea, right, under Claudius, while prefect of Egypt, right? So he was a soldier in the army, man, and he was a direct guard to he was one of the guards of Claudius. He employed his legions against Alexandrian Jews in a brutal response to ethnic violence. So he deployed legions of the army upon his own people, man. So this is a wicked, 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 wicked person, man. This is a wicked nigga, man. You know? And was instrumental in the Emperor Vespasian's rise to power. So now, not only learning that we have Israelites in the Roman Empire or in the military, Roman military, but now you understand that wait, you have Israelites that were instrumental in the destruction of our people too. Just like now today, you have Israelites that are instrumental in the destruction of our people. You know, Al Sharpton, Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice. You know, just to name a few. You know, it says in 70 A.D. he participated in the siege of Jerusalem as Titus's second in command. So not only was he instrumental in Vespasian's rise to power, but he also aided his son Titus in the destruction of his own people, man. You know? And this would be an Israelite foreigner, because he forsook the ways of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and went to the Romans, man, because he saw the Romans as a more prosperous way of life, you know? So that's all I want to get on him, but it's vast history, man, and a lot of guys that can't see past the other nations, you know, the Gentiles being saved, or can't see the fact that the Israelite foreigners, there were Israelite foreigners, or Cornelius was an Israelite, is because they don't know anything about history, you know? They don't know anything about history, bottom line, you know? And if they knew about history and they read the scriptures and they understood, you know, all these dynamics uh, that coincide with the scriptures, like history, science, you know, vocabulary, words, languages, they would understand all these things. But sometimes, you know, these things are seen in a mystery, you know? Sometimes these things are seen in a mystery. So I want to go back to this Acts the 10th chapter just really, really quick, you know? Because another thing guys will say, you know, they'll break down this vision that Peter had, you know, and say, see, that means that, you know, that everything's clean. But no, this isn't what this means. This was the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, telling Peter to go to the other, using the other nations, using animals as an analogy for the other nations, and basically telling Peter to go to the other nations and to teach them. And Peter, you know, being of the Southern Kingdom at that time, you know, he said, well, they're not worshiping Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Those are foreigners. Those are strangers to us. You know, it'll be basically looked down upon if I go to them. You know, but the Most High was saying, no, 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 no. You're going to do what I told you to do. You know. So let me read this real quick. It's Acts chapter 10, verse 12. Wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the verse 11. Acts chapter 10, verse 11. And saw heaven open, and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet, knit at the four corners, and let down to the earth. Right, so it was knit at the four corners, which symbolize, you know, that knitting at the four corners symbolizes how the Israelites were scattered on four corners of the earth. And I'm going to read a scripture next, you know, in First Peter, the first chapter, that tells you that the Israelites were scattered all over the earth. And you know, there are very other countless scriptures that tell you that Israel was scattered all over. But this is verse 12, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air, right? Now remember, I said all the nations of the earth were likened unto these animals. And there came a voice to him, rise, Peter, kill and eat. And Peter said, not so, Lord, you know, because he knew this was the Lord talking to him, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean, you know. And Peter was thinking at the time, well, hey, I'm not going to eat this stuff, symbolizing that I'm not going to I'm not going to accept, these Israelites up from these other nations. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, what the Most High hath cleansed, that call not thou common. Meaning they're still Israel, man. They're still clean people no matter what. And he said this was done thrice, right? Because Peter still wasn't getting it. And the vessel was received up again into heaven. Now while Peter doubted in himself that what this vision which he had seen should mean, behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made an inquiry of Simon's house and stood before the gate. So fast forwarded, basically Cornelius's guards came to Peter's house and they brought Cornelius there, right? Now let me fast forward up to verse 28. Now you can welcome to read the whole chapter yourself. For sake of time, interest of time, I'm just going to read certain points. Verse 28, it says, and he said unto them, ye know you know how that is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. See, now you're learning that this was the interpretation of this dream that he had back in Acts chapter 10 verse 11, to 16. So this is really the interpretation of the dream that you're getting here. So let me go back to verse 28. It says, and he said to them, ye know how that is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation, right? And the reason why he's saying that is because you had Israelites in those other nations that didn't believe in Yahweh Bash and Yahweh Shai, and didn't follow the law, statutes, and commandments. So he's saying like, hey man, it's unlawful for me to even keep company with them. They're basically recognized as heathen. It says, but the Most High showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean, meaning he doesn't have a say so on who accepts the word or not, just to do the will, to perform the will of the Father, man, and his Son, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So now, and I'll go in further the reason why he said it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company, So let's go here to 2 Corinthians 6 and 14. It says, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. See? Be not unequally yoked together with unbelievers, meaning don't hang around them, man. They don't believe. So either they'll corrupt you or they'll end up hating you and, try to kill you, put you to death, do some type of harm to you because you're righteous. Your works are righteous and their works are wicked, man. So that's why when you go back to this Acts chapter 28, it says, ye know how that is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. That's an unbeliever, So it says, be not unequally yoked with unbelievers, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness, right? Because those Israelite foreigners that didn't believe, man, they were unrighteous. And what common communion hath light with darkness, Which it doesn't. It makes no sense. It's confusion. So that's why Peter made that statement, So while Peter made that statement, I'm going to go here into 1 Peter 1 and 1, because now you have from Acts, from the book of Acts, Peter having that dream and Cornelius coming to him and him, teaching Cornelius the word. You have him writing a book now to Israelites scattered abroad, Like I said, the Israelites scattered above all throughout all nations. So, and here's that scripture I was telling you about. This is 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 1. Peter, an apostle of Yahweh Shai, to the strangers scattered throughout. See, it says strangers scattered throughout, Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia, Now, it says strangers, so you're thinking, well, it says strangers, so wouldn't that be people of other nations? Well, yeah, it's people of other nations, but what kind of people of those other nations are they? Just like now you have African American people living in London, living in Jamaica, living in China, living in France, You have Israelites living in Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia, Nothing has changed. Just like now you have Israelites popping up in London, Switzerland, uh, Ghana. Um, if I'm not mistaken, Japan. You have uh, Jamaica. Dominican Republic, Canada. So it's the same thing, man. The scriptures say there's nothing new under the sun. And it says, verse 2, this is what's going to get you. It says, elect. Now, everyone knows that the word elect means chosen, the chosen of the Lord. Now, everyone knows that the elect can only come from the nation of Israel, right? It says, elect according to the foreknowledge. So, of the Most High, the Father. So, the Lord knew through looking down the timeline that Israel is going to be scattered all over, and the elect is going to be scattered all over as well, you know? Through sanctification of the Spirit unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. So now he's calling the elect unto obedience to obeying Yahweh Shai. And that's exactly what happened to Cornelius here in Acts the 10th chapter, man. Because he was compelled, he was brought unto obedience to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. It says, grace unto you and peace be multiplied. So that's the whole mystery behind the whole Cornelius thing, man. And this whole Israelite foreigners. And to further prove this, I'm going to go into a document about the Jewish diasporas. Now, when you go into this Jewish diaspora, now the word diaspora means exile, or dispersion. Because throughout history, the Israelites were dispersed among the other nations whenever a new empire took over the known world at that time. Because they had something called slave trades. And Israelites were a part of those slave trades and were shipped off to other nations in other regions of the earth, man. And through interest of time, they had children. And like I said before, you got to keep in mind in this video that the seed comes through the man, the sperma, the DNA. So men were laying their seed in women, and through interest of time, you have Israelites that were looking like other nations, man. Because no matter what if I lay down with an Edomite woman, that seed is still going to be an Israelite seed. Just like you plant an apple tree and fertile ground if you plant an apple tree in fertile ground that's meant to grow coconuts, now what's going to grow isn't going to be half coconut, half apple. It's going to be an apple tree. Same concept. It says the Jewish diaspora, exile, Hebrew exile, Yiddish, blah, 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 refers to the dispersion of the Israelites, Judites, and later Jews out of their ancestral homeland, the land of Israel, and their subsequent settlement in other parts of the globe. That's why you had Tiberius Alexander come straight out of Alexandria, Egypt, because Israelites were dispersed in Egypt. And when we left Egypt during the Exodus, you still had Israelites still in Egypt, man. And you had Israelites travel to Egypt throughout history as well. But let's go back to this exile here. So I'm going to skip a few lines. You're welcome to read this document yourself to prove what's broken down in this video. It says the first exile was the Assyrian exile, the Assyrian captivity under Shalmaneser, the expulsion of the kingdom of Israel, Samaria, by Tiglath-Pileser III of Assyria in 733 BCE, and its completion by Sargon II with the destruction of the kingdom 722 BC, after the end of the 3-year siege that Shalmaneser V started in Samaria. Now you have Israelites scattered among this Assyrian empire, and they had the whole known world at that time, right? And it said it continued with the exile of a portion of the population of the kingdom of Judah, 597 BC, with the Babylonian exile. The biblical book of Ezra includes 2 texts said to be decrees of Cyrus the Great, conqueror of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, allowing the deported Jews to return to their homeland after decades and ordering the temple rebuilt. Now, what I want to go into, because I want you to see, if they have a map of what the Babylonian captivity looked like. So, this was the Babylonian Empire. The Babylonian Empire stretched all the way to Persia, Medes, and you have Syria, Assyria, Phoenicia, Arabia. So you had you had Israelites going to all these various places, for work, for free labor. That's what you're dealing with here. That's what you are dealing with here. So let me go back. Now let me go down to this excerpt here. It says he also stated that this is talking about the Josephus. Oh, I'm sorry, King Cyrus, but it's talking about the scholars. Now it says following the siege of Jerusalem in 63 BC. Now this is after the Greek Empire. Alexander the Great. Now we're forward in the timeline of history, right? It says following the siege of Jerusalem in 63 BC, the Hasmonean kingdom. Well, do you know anything about the Hasmonean kingdom? Hasmonean dynasty was a ruling dynasty of Judea and surrounding regions during classical antiquity. Between 140 CE and 116 BCE, the dynasty ruled semi-autonomously with the Seleucids in the region of Judea. The Seleucids were a branch off of the Greek Empire and became the Greco-Roman Empire. Just to bridge that time gap. It says following the siege of Jerusalem in 63 BC, the Hasmonean kingdom became a protectorate of Rome, and in decades rather than a single event. Following the siege of Jerusalem in 63 BCE, and in 6 CE was organized by the Roman province of Judea. The Jews revolted against the Roman Empire in 63 CE during a period known as the First Jewish-Roman War, which culminated in the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 CE. So after that, you had Jewish-Roman wars throughout time, which ultimately ended up in the destruction of Jerusalem, right? Now it says, during the siege, the Romans destroyed the Second Temple and most of Jerusalem. This event, this event marked the beginning of the Roman exile, also called Edom exile. So now, oh man, I didn't even know it said that. That's that's cold right there. So the Edom exile, man, the Edomites, the Roman Empire. So Edom is the white man. Even the scholars know this. But anyway, let's continue. Jewish leaders and elite were exiled from the land, killed. Oh, check this out. Or taken to Rome as slaves. So they were taken to Rome as slaves, man. And you know how Rome got down at that time. They traded you all over the known world because Rome had the whole known world at that time, the whole eastern hemisphere, man. You know. So there's no getting around history. There is no getting around history, no matter how you slice it, man. This is basically just a history lesson. That's all this is, you know. And let's go down here. Now you already know the Roman destruction of Judah, right? Which is took place 70 AD. But what I want to get into is the dispersion of the Jews in the Roman Empire. Now, let's read this here. It says, following the first century Great Revolt, the second century Simon Bar Kokhba Revolt, the destruction of Judea exerted a decisive influence upon the Jewish people, both those in Israel and those who were dispersed throughout the world. One of the most significant changes was the shift of the center of religious authority from the temple priesthood to rabbis. Oh, so that's where rabbis came from. That's good to know. It says many Jews entered the diaspora as slaves. This is the meat. Entered diaspora as slaves, man, meaning the dispersion, around the world as slaves. So they had a slave trade as well, man, just like the transatlantic slave trade. And now you have African Americans, which were our Israelites, all over the world now. Exactly the same thing. After the destruction of the temple in 70 CE, or 70 AD, and 135 CE, although evidence for Jewish communities in the diaspora is scantily until the 4th century. Most scholars argue that these slave populations form the basis for the latter Jewish communities in Europe. Oh, man. So now you have Israelite communities in Europe, and that's where you get the Moors from, in the Renaissance period. So you see how history is all coming together here? It says the majority of the Jewish people were already living in the diaspora before the destruction of the Second Temple, with perhaps as many as 1 million in Alexandria, for example. Oh, see, it's taking you right back to Alexandria, man. Which birthed who? This fucking nigga Tiberius Julius Alexander, man, who had a specific hand in the destruction of our people, So now it says the majority of Jewish people were already living in the diaspora before the destruction of the Second Temple, meaning those were the Israelites who were dispersed throughout Egypt, the Egyptian Empire, the Assyrian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, and the Greek Empire. You know, were already living out in these other countries. You know, in these other regions of the earth, like a million in Alexandria, for example. The Romans did not distinguish between Jews inside and outside of the land of Israel slash Judea. They collected an annual temple tax from Jews both in and outside of Israel. So they had a tax on any Israelites anywhere, man. They were oppressing us just like America's oppressing us today. The revolts and suppression of diaspora communities in Egypt, Libya, oh, that's Africa, and Crete, oh, that's Italy, in 115 and 117 CE had a severe impact on the Jewish diaspora population. And that's why you get books like the book of Romans, Paul going to the Romans, Paul going to the Corinthians, Paul going to um, the Philippians, you know, Paul going to the Ephesians, and things like that, man. Because you had Israelites in those other lands who needed the word. And can't forget about the book of Titus, because Titus was an Israelite himself, who grew up in the Greek fashion, but converted, meaning turned back, went to the church in Crete to set up the order of the church of Israelites in Crete, man. So there's no way of getting around history. You can say whatever you want. You know, you can try and twist the scriptures. That's cool. Okay. That's cool. Y'all can try and twist the scriptures. That's fine. But one thing that you can't get around is history, you know? Because if I guarantee you one thing that all you guys believe in is what the white man says. That's everything you believe in, man. You don't believe in what Jake tells you, you believe in what the white man says, what the white man has to say about the scriptures, what the white man says about history and archaeology and carbon dating and whatever have you, man. But you cannot get away from history, you know, which backs up the scriptures that you try to inherently mangle. So I'm going to go into this Romans chapter 10, verse 12. Just really quick. Matter of fact, yeah, I'm going to go into this Romans 10, verse 12. And it says, "For there is neither between the Jew and the Greek, for the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him." Now, I just broke down to you that you had Jews, you know, or you had Greeks, which were Jews, that followed the Greek customs in Rome and in Greece, right? Through the diasporas. Just like this guy here, Tiberius Julius Alexander. He was a Roman, but he was an Israelite who followed the customs of Rome. Now, let's go into this word Greek, because I want to show you something here. Now, if you have a Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary or any type of hard copy dictionary, it will tell you that the word Hellenin or Hellenistus were Israelites who made Greek their tongue, things of that nature, right? But now, for some reason, the Blue Letter Bible, that's why Apostle Hart and the elders always tell you that there are parts of the Blue Letter Bible that go off, because they call themselves revising and changing the Blue Letter every moment when they supposedly get some new information, right? But really it's to combat the truth. Now, that second definition was never here. Now, it says a Greek verse, the first definition, a Greek either by nationality, whether a native or a mainland or of the Greek islands or colonies, right? 2, in a wider sense, the name embraces all nations. Now, it says not Jews, but if you watch the apostle videos on the Greeks and on Romans the 10th chapter and the wild olive tree and the Israelite foreigners and all that, this little excerpt here, not the Jews, is not there. What the definition used to say is, in a wider sense, the name embraces Israelites that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greeks their own. That's what this used to say. But now it says, not Jews, right, that made the language, customs, learning of Greeks their own. And primary reference is to a difference of religion and worship. Now, and the reason why they put this there, because they know people can't differentiate the difference between the word Hellenistas, the word Hellenin, and go into these different words and what these words mean. Now, So now that you have that understanding of what a Hellenin or Hellenesis really is, let's go into this first Maccabees. I just threw this in for good reference, you know, because just to show you that you had Israelites scattered among all nations. Those so-called Spartans, like if you ever seen the movie 300, the Spartans, um, the Spartans were the 300 or a city-state of Greece. And what many people don't know about those Spartans is the Spartans were actually Israelites. And I know before you go in sucking your teeth and smacking your lips and saying whatever you want to say, all this is bullshit. This is bullshit, right? Well, let's examine the scripture here. Now, this is in the first Maccabees. This is in the Hasmonean Empire. Now, this is when Jonathan was the head of the head of the Hasmonean Empire at this time, with Simon, and Jonathan wrote a letter, right, to the Lacedaemonians, which were the Spartans. And let's see what he says. This is First Maccabees chapter 12, verse 5, and this is the copy of the letters which Jonathan wrote to the Lacedaemonians, right? Jonathan, the high priest, and the elders of the nation, and the priests, and the other of the Jews, unto the Lacedaemonians, their brethren, send greeting. Now, there were, and I can keep going. It says, there were letters in times past unto Onias, the high priest from Darius, who reigned then among you, to signify that ye are our brethren. So this is dating all the way back from the Medo-Persian Empire, that they had to get this out, man, to signify that ye are our brethren, as the copy here underwritten doth specify. So they had the lineage of the Lacedaemonians or the Spartans, man, claiming that they were the brethren of the Israelites, man. And the only way you can be brethren is not that, oh, we're all one people, we're all humans crap that the modern world teaches you today. The way you're a brethren is through the seed, man. You share the same seed. You share the same blood, which are the blood of Israelites, man. So, now we got that out of the way. Let's see who the Lacedaemonians are, shall we? Now, Lacedaemonian, a native or inhabitant of Lacedaemon, an area of ancient Greece comprising the city of Sparta and its surroundings. So, whoa, now you understand that the Spartans are Israelites. Oh, that's ridiculous, right? And you have various other articles here that tell you about the Spartans, man. There's even one I found that a guy was he wrote an article about the Lacedaemonians being black, and it's tracing their lineage through the nation of Israel, man. So with all that said, and and done and broken down, man, you understand the difference between um, a Gentile, a natural Gentile, which are the other nations, and the Israelite foreigners, which are the ones that Paul was teaching to. Those are the ones that Peter wrote his letters to, and those are the ones that that also, were at Cornelius and his that Cornelius was a part of, and that Tiberius Julius Alexander, which was another Israelite who became a heathen through his worship of the Roman Empire, was in the army and defected and went against his own people, through what? The Jewish Diaspora'S, man. So with that, I just wanted to prove the Israelite foreigners without a shadow of a doubt, through the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Yahushai means all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who taught me this word through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And salutations to the brethren on the four corners of the earth who teach this word in truth and in sincerity and endure on through the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Shalom.